On January 6, 2026, Washington, D.C. was rocked by the sudden and unexpected death of Representative Doug LaMalfa, a stalwart California Republican who had served his district for over a decade. The news sent shockwaves through the Capitol and across the nation, as colleagues and constituents alike struggled to process the loss of a dedicated public servant. LaMalfa, 65, suffered a sudden medical emergency at his home in Northern California. Despite the best efforts of first responders and a team of surgeons at a Chico hospital, he passed away late that evening following emergency surgery. The rapid sequence of events left his family, friends, and staff in shock, as just hours earlier he had been working on legislative matters. His death left a profound void in his rural district, where he was known for championing agricultural issues and advocating for local communities. The loss also upended the already fragile balance of power in the U.S. House, where every seat counted in a deeply divided chamber. The Butte County Sheriff's Office has launched an investigation into the circumstances surrounding his passing, with an autopsy pending to determine the exact cause of death. Authorities have stated there is no indication of foul play, but the community awaits answers. Lawmakers returned to a somber Capitol, mourning a colleague respected for his unwavering dedication, conservative principles, and willingness to work across the aisle when it mattered most. Tributes poured in from both sides of the aisle, reflecting the impact LaMalfa had on those around him. LaMalfa's final public act was to praise a recent U.S. military operation, underscoring his lifelong focus on national security and support for the armed forces. His words now echo as a testament to his priorities and values. His absence immediately weakened the already narrow Republican majority, compounding the party's internal divisions and raising urgent questions about the path forward for G.O.P. leadership. The timing was critical, coinciding with another Republican seat becoming vacant and plunging House leadership into a state of crisis. The party now faced the daunting task of maintaining unity and advancing its agenda amid growing uncertainty. Major media outlets highlighted the severe impact on the House's composition and the GOP's ability to govern, with headlines warning of legislative gridlock and a potential shift in power dynamics. As the nation mourned, Washington braced for the political fallout of losing one of its most reliable conservative voices. The coming weeks would test the resilience of Congress and the unity of a party now facing an uncertain future. To truly grasp the impact of Doug LaMalfa's passing, you must first understand the man behind the name, his story, his values, and the legacy he leaves behind. LaMalfa was a fourth-generation rice farmer from Northern California, raised on the very land he would one day represent. His deep roots in agriculture weren't just a family tradition, they were the foundation of his worldview and the driving force behind his public service. Working alongside other farmers, he learned firsthand the challenges and rewards of rural life. These experiences shaped his identity and politics, giving him credibility and trust among rural voters who saw him as one of their own. LaMalfa's political career began in the California State Assembly and Senate, where he championed limited government, lower taxes, and policies that supported working families and small businesses. Elected to Congress in 2012, he represented California's vast, rural 1st District, land he knew intimately, from its rice fields to its mountain towns. He was a familiar face in every corner of the district, always listening to the concerns of his neighbors. In Washington, he served on key committees, where he influenced policy on water, wildfire prevention, and agriculture, issues that mattered deeply to his constituents and to the future of rural California. Colleagues respected his principled, behind-the-scenes work and unwavering commitment to his district. He was known for his honesty, his work ethic, and his willingness to reach across the aisle when it mattered most. In 2025, he became chairman of the Congressional Western Caucus, a role that reflected the respect he earned from his peers and his leadership on issues vital to the West. LaMalfa's life was defined by public service rooted in the land and people he represented. He never lost sight of where he came from, or the values that shaped him. He wasn't a headline grabber, but a steady, reliable advocate for rural America, someone who worked tirelessly, often out of the spotlight, to make a difference. His legacy is one of authenticity, dedication, and a deep, enduring connection to his community, a legacy that will be remembered for years to come. LaMalfa's legacy is his fierce advocacy for rural California, especially on water rights and wildfire prevention. As a farmer, he brought first-hand knowledge to debates over water access, fighting regulations he saw as threats to his district's survival. He championed active forest management, pushing for policies to prevent devastating wildfires. LaMalfa secured disaster recovery funds, but insisted prevention was key. A fiscal conservative, he consistently opposed high spending and government overreach. His votes reflected a belief in limited government and personal liberty. He fought for Second Amendment rights and rural infrastructure, ensuring his district's needs weren't ignored. LaMalfa's approach was hands-on, securing funding for local projects and battling harmful regulations. He wasn't known for landmark bills, but for relentless service to his constituents. His legacy, a determined public servant who never forgot his roots. LaMalfa's death coincided with the resignation of Marjorie Taylor Greene, compounding the GOP's crisis. In a single day, Republicans lost 2 seats, shrinking their House majority to a razor-thin 218-213. With 4 vacancies, the GOP's margin for error vanished. Every vote now critical. Speaker Mike Johnson's job became nearly impossible, needing total party unity to pass any bill. Even a single defection could derail the Republican agenda. The new reality empowered small factions and individual dissenters, making leadership a nightmare. The party's ability to govern and campaign for the 2026 midterms was thrown into doubt. The loss of LaMalfa and Greene left the GOP majority on life support. The House entered a period of unprecedented instability. For Speaker Mike Johnson, the loss of LaMalfa and Greene turned a tough job into a political minefield. With no majority to spare, every vote became a high-stakes negotiation. Hardline factions like the Freedom Caucus gained outsized influence, able to block legislation with a single dissent. Johnson faced a choice: appease the far right or seek Democratic support, both risky moves. Internal criticism of his leadership intensified, with some members openly defying him. The GOP conference was demoralized and divided, making discipline nearly impossible. In an election year, the stakes were even higher. Voters would judge the party's ability to govern. Johnson's challenge: hold the conference together, deliver results, and avoid legislative disaster. His success or failure could decide the fate of the Republican majority. LaMalfa's death prompted rare bipartisan mourning in Washington. Speaker Johnson called him a fierce fighter for California's resources, while Democratic leader Hakeem Jeffries praised his principled service. The House observed a moment of silence, a brief pause in partisan conflict. California Governor Gavin Newsom, often a political opponent, acknowledged LaMalfa's devotion to his district. Tributes from both sides highlighted his sincerity and commitment, even amid deep policy disagreements. The bipartisan respect underscored the human cost of political loss. For a moment, Washington united to honor a dedicated public servant. The tributes reflected a shared understanding. The loss of any committed member diminishes Congress as a whole. Former President Donald Trump's tribute to LaMalfa was both personal and political. Trump called him a great member of Congress, praising his loyalty and passion for California's water issues. "With Doug, I never had to call," Trump said, highlighting LaMalfa's reliability as an ally. LaMalfa's unwavering support made him invaluable to party leadership. Trump acknowledged the GOP's new challenges, urging unity behind Speaker Johnson. His message: LaMalfa's loss is a blow, but Republicans must rally together. Trump's words served as both eulogy and call to action for the party base. He reminded supporters of LaMalfa's conservative credentials and America First loyalty. The tribute cemented LaMalfa's legacy as a key ally and underscored the void his passing leaves. For Trump and the GOP, LaMalfa's memory is a rallying point in a moment of crisis. The sudden passing of Congressman LaMalfa has sent shockwaves through California's 1st District, leaving a significant void in its political leadership and triggering a special election to fill his seat. By law, Governor Newsom is required to call this special election within 14 days of the vacancy, setting in motion a high-stakes political contest. The election is expected to take place in June 2026, giving candidates and parties just months to organize, campaign, and connect with voters across the sprawling rural district. California's unique jungle primary system will be used, where all candidates, regardless of party, compete on a single ballot, and the top 2 vote-getters advance to the general election. The 1st District has long been a Republican stronghold, with deep conservative roots and a history of electing GOP representatives. However, recent redistricting has shifted the district's boundaries, bringing in new communities and changing the political landscape in subtle but important ways. As a result, the race is expected to be more competitive than in previous years, with both parties sensing an opportunity. Multiple Republican candidates are expected to jump into the race, each hoping to carry on LaMalfa's legacy and appeal to the district's conservative base. But with so many Republicans running, the vote could split, potentially giving a strong Democrat a rare chance to advance or even win in this traditionally red district. In the last election, LaMalfa secured a commanding victory with 65% of the vote, underscoring the district's conservative lean. But with new boundaries and shifting demographics, there's a sense of uncertainty and anxiety among party strategists and voters alike. For Republicans, holding on to this seat is absolutely crucial if they hope to restore, or even maintain, a majority in the House of Representatives. A loss here would be nothing short of catastrophic for the party, sending shockwaves through GOP ranks nationwide. It would further weaken Republican momentum and morale heading into the critical midterm elections, where every seat counts. That's why this special election will be closely watched by political observers and media outlets across the country. It's more than just a local contest. It's a test of the GOP's strength, unity, and ability to rally its base in a changing district. The outcome could have a direct impact on the balance of power in the House, influencing national policy and legislative priorities. It may also signal broader political trends, offering clues about voter sentiment and party strength heading into the next election cycle. The fight for LaMalfa's seat is about more than just local representation. It's become a focal point for national attention and debate. Ultimately, this special election stands as a national referendum on Republican resilience, strategy, and the party's future direction. The deaths of LaMalfa and Greene have thrown the House into chaos, with Republicans barely clinging to a paper-thin majority. For months, Speaker Johnson must govern with no margin for error, risking gridlock and failure. This instability raises the stakes for the 2026 midterms, where the GOP's ability to govern will be under scrutiny. Democrats will seize on any dysfunction as evidence the GOP can't lead. The special election in California's 1st District will be an early test of Republican strength. A strong GOP showing signals resilience, a weak one emboldens Democrats. The fight for this seat mirrors the national battle for House control in November. The sudden shift in the House is a reminder of how quickly power can change hands. The path to the next election is now fraught with uncertainty and peril for the Republican majority.